One life with the fellas.
One life with the fellas.
Ooh, one life with the fellas is about to come on, y'all.
Maybe it's me, maybe it's that, no. Maybe it did, maybe it white, maybe it black, no. Maybe it me, I'm from the mud, I'm from the mud. I got it all from the grid, taking the red, taking the red, taking the red. Maybe it's me, maybe it that, no. Maybe it did, maybe it white, maybe it black, no. Maybe it me, I'm from the mud, I'm from the mud. I got it all from the grid, taking the red, taking the red, taking the red.
One life with the fellas.
Some examples of what you would pay.
Yo, we back. What's good, fellas?
Hey, what's good? What's up?
What's happening, brother?
All right, as y'all can see, we one short down, but you know he on the road, man. He doing his fatherly duty, so he'll be chiming in a second, man. Again, man, we welcome everybody back. Hope y'all had a good weekend and good Labor Day weekend. How was y'all Labor Day weekend, man? Never mind. Murray, how was your Labor Day weekend, guy?
It was good, man. Didn't do much, just relax. Enjoy the day off.
Word. Nico, I'm sorry, man.
I was with you, man. So I know how Thursday night went. I'm never drinking with you again in life.
I'm always getting the one you blame. It's always me.
It's your fault. And then, but one great thing, man. I really enjoyed that weekend because my pops and my sister's birthday they like right next to each other, and I got to cook dinner for my pops and my sister. So that was like a huge honor, really special to me before I came back to the crib. So I really enjoyed that part.
That's what's up, man. That's
yeah.
right.
Also, we celebrated my wife's birthday on Labor Day weekend as well, man. So that was a pleasure as well.
That's right. First lady. Hercules. That's all right. That was up, man. Hey, before we get into the show, man, we got a serious matter that we do need to take care of, though. Seriously. I don't know if y'all have noticed. There's been a slight change in the social media world. Our guy Nico, man, is in Facebook jail. So, you know, we just need to send some prayers up. I don't know. You know what I mean? I know this happens from time to time with the guy, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what Mark got against the dude, but, you know, this time we fortunate he only going to be locked up for 72 hours. So, you know, we hope you stay strong in that thing, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, y'all put some money on my books, man.
Yeah, you know, most folks, they get closer to the word when they be locked up, man. So, you know, I don't know how that's gonna work for you. You know what I'm saying? Get you something there to get your mind occupied while you're locked up, right? You know,
yeah, man, I'm reading the Bible and the Quran at the same time, man.
We're gonna come by and spit all kind of spiritual truths to us, boy. But no, but serious though, man. For whatever reason, man, the man got put in Facebook jail again. I have no idea why. It's kind of crazy, but you know. But yeah, man, I'm with. That's right. Send me free Nico. That's what I'm talking about. Nico. Support already, man. That's what I'm talking about. So you know, y'all make sure y'all keep that chat, man. I don't know how this stuff works. I ain't never been locked up in Facebook or in real life, so you know, I don't know. You know, I don't know if we get enough free Nicos. He may get out less than 72 hours.
Hey man, and then I can't even use Messenger, bro. Like I can't do nothing, and I don't know what I did. I don't know which post it was.
It's a conspiracy against the color. That's what it is, man. I don't know. We're just ride with it like that, bro. But no, man. We again, we thank everybody for just tuning in. As y'all know, this is episode 6, man. So steadily moving along. And so we're not gonna hold y'all too longer, man. We know we started our last show dealing with finances and got a lot of good feedback on that as well. And so we wanted to continue that. For this episode, we did have a special guest on our episode The last show we had was Ray Cottrell. And I know he said he was going to share a video with you guys. And he has recorded the video. We will post it after this show. If we don't post it tonight, look for it this week. For those that have very short attention span, which in this day and age is probably all of us because of technology. It's not a long video. It's about 12 minutes long, I think, or 13 minutes. But he has some really good information to elaborate more on what we discussed in our last show. So just look out for that. And again, we thank Ray, man, for just dropping the jewels and gems that he did. And so we'll probably make that just a general post and have it where it can be like a Q&A for him and any other people that follow us that's in the group, in the Facebook group that has a financial experience, in whatever background that may be. Drop your knowledge as well too, man, just from the video or anything that we have to discuss, not only benefit all of us on this show, but everybody that follows the page. So definitely thank Ray for that. So like I said, just look out for that video. We will be dropping that. If not tonight, definitely this week. So tonight, man, we wanted to just really put emphasis on, as y'all probably can see, the title of the show from our Facebook post is "Why is Debt So High and Credit So Low in the Black Community?" And so I don't know, man, why y'all think that's the case, man? Why is debt so high in our community and credit so low? Why y'all think that's the case?
Before I started off, I just want to say we finna bring on our partner Evans as well.
Okay, it's gonna bring him in.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Right on time.
Little family situation going on, you know what I'm saying? Cheerleader daughter doing cheerleading today, so
it's all good, man. Father of the year, we love that, man.
Hey.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, we were just stemming with the question at hand, man. Why is debt so high and credit so low in the Black community? So, y'all got a couple of gems or answers for that question, man?
Yeah.
I think it kind of start what we trying to discuss here, right? Financial literacy, right?
Yeah.
There's a lack of teaching that in the household. Said parents really don't have time to teach it, and heck, a lot of them didn't know it themselves. I think we come up in the era also of when I was young, it didn't happen to me, but I know a lot of people to where their parents were using their social as kids, and that started them off on a bad page. From the jump. You turn 19 and 20, you trying to go get a car, yeah, you dead. So I think it pretty much started there. If you really want to, that's what I think. Just not taught, man, for the most part.
I would mirror Evan's response with that one, the education, and then like most of us. Well, I would say for me, I'm not gonna speak for everybody. I got my first credit card, bro. It was free money, so I'm just spending.
Yeah,
I ain't never really have the whole my mom putting stuff in my name or anything, but like that first credit card in college, that was just free money, and I was broke too, so everything was going on the credit card with a little $300 limit.
300.
Yeah, boy. That 300 was gold there, boy.
That 300 was truth back then.
Flanders.
I just never thought about paying it off or think about the outcome of me using this card for lack of knowledge, I would say, and then just immaturity as well. Not even thinking about the future of what needed to be this card need to be used for, not even thinking about credit in the long run.
What about you, Bonnie?
Yeah, definitely for me as well. I think it is combination of education, like you say, just a piece of explanation of knowing what credit is and how important it is, how it can affect you financially, right? How just having a good credit score versus having a terrible credit score impact your day-to-day life and impact you financially, right? Like what it looks like number-wise. I think is a big portion of it as well, and kind of what Nico said as well. Just even just wanting to know, to seek to understand, to learn. Like, hey, it's this thing right here that they created, right? Is going to impact me as well as my kids, right? So it also impacts your ability to support your family. When you talk about having a low credit score can potentially take money out of your pocket versus having a great credit score. So the education piece, the willingness or just to seek the knowledge to understand something that I didn't know at the time, but I know more about now.
Okay. I mean, the only thing I can add on to it, man, is I know my mom, she was like, you know, you ain't got enough money to pay your light bill. What you need to have money to pay for a credit card. So it was like, all right.
That's some great advice, though. You know what I mean?
It is.
She didn't give you the 10 piece breakdown, right?
No.
But she did. If you just follow that model, to me, just what, like you said, why you need a credit card? You know what I mean? Not you saying just like because I want one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody else got one. I want one.
Right. Yeah, but y'all know how I am. You know, I'm asking questions galore. So when I start hitting with them questions where some of those 10 points could be elaborated,
yeah,
that boy Sheldon get out my face going about the business. So, it's like, all right. So that's where the information got cut off. So it was like, all right, it is what it is now. So let me just go about my way. So I'm with y'all, man, as far as like, you know, with credit cards, man, or just with debt in itself, not having so much of in-depth information too, as far as how to manage finances and everything in that sort. So, you know, but you know, it is what it is, man. So I know the other question I had want to ask y'all, man, like how do y'all feel about the credit system in itself? Like how it's currently designed at this point. How do y'all feel about it?
I don't like it, man. America, so many trillions in debt, but worried about my credit score. Like, why?
Right.
What's America's credit score? But I'll say this. One thing we have to look at is not only just a credit score, it's really what they will call a credit profile, right? So, you know, anytime you profile someone, that calls for discrimination, right? So if you're profiling me based off of my doings or somebody, or you're profiling Evans or Tamarcus on based off what they have, then what are you doing? I'm putting you in the category so that I could either do something for you that I'm not going to do something for the other person, right?
Right.
So from that perspective, I think that it has hurt a lot of people in our community, right? Because it's potentially taking money out of our pockets, because we are essentially, with a poor credit score, you are paying more for something that someone would pay less for over a period of time. And they will. And one thing also we can look at is these companies that host this credit model. These are for-profit businesses, right? These are not like nonprofit companies. It's not like we have the will of we're looking out for the people, right? We're looking out for people in general. For-profit entities, right? And we'll break down more about that credit score model and the credit bureaus who make up those type of things later on. But I'll let everybody else chime in without going into too much more detail.
I think go ahead, DeBear. Go ahead.
I do think something needs to be in place as far as, you know, how do you determine if a person will be able to financially pay back a loan? But I think, you know, the downside of that is our community is already on the downside of that, right? As far as, you know, and not just the financial literacy part of that, but I think, you know, the generational wealth gap is so huge that we playing catch up. You know, like, you know, that's why we having the conversation that we having now, right? Is to try to, you know, get everybody else, hey, get on board with me. So, you know, we are already behind the curve. So, you know, just because of our financial situations, you know, we're not able to get those loans and do things we want to do. So.
And I'll elaborate on that, man. I think I hate how the system is set up to where it makes sure that we are farther behind, because think about it this way. Think about how many neighborhoods in your own hometown or where you currently may stay, and it's considered a low income area, right? How many of the check cashing places do we see that are within 5 to 10 minutes away from these neighborhoods?
Every corner.
It's on every corner, right?
Yeah.
And we know what the interest rates are at those spots. You know what I'm saying? Just to go and, you know, like you said, I'm just trying to put the title up for my car real quick so I can get me a quick $700, and you probably paying back almost $2,000 just for the $700 that you loan. So you're in a sense you're putting yourself in debt triple to pay off that little small loan that you got. Secondly, if you don't have enough money to pay off that loan, now you lose your car.
Right.
So you're even further in debt and further behind. And that's how I look at it when we talk about financial literacy. It is a financial literacy that's still being exposed. It's the financial literacy to keep us in bondage, I guess you could say, for lack of better words. And that's my struggle, my problem I have with it, man, because you got so many people that, for whatever reasons, a lot of us are starting off in low income areas or close to it, or middle to low income. And so when we do look to the left and right to try to get ahead, that's all we see: check cashing places, title loan places, or whatever it need to be. So we, in our mind, we think that's my way to get ahead, but in actuality, it's keeping us trapped in that same area where we are now.
Also, a lot of people just look for like a quick come up. So that check cashing loan or whatever it may be they come up, that not even thinking about the ramifications of that.
Yeah.
Like if you ain't got the money when you go in there, what make you think you could pay back at that interest rate?
Right.
Because they ain't looking at the interest rate. They ain't looking at the interest rate.
But they don't know about the interest rate. They don't know about the interest rate.
I'm gonna get this money I need, and we'll figure it out on the back end.
Yeah. Yep. And a lot of us don't know about the interest rates, because that going back to something that talking about grade school, where they threw them questions that PRT equation, everything in front of us. They're like, man, ain't nobody trying to prepare that joke. Go about your way, you flunk the test or whatever it may need to be, go about your business. And you're not thinking about it. But like, this is an actual equation that you're gonna see. When you graduate high school in about a few months.
I appreciate you being in class with me, because I wasn't paying attention to them questions, but you got them all right. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's all good. That's what I'm here for. But yo, man, so let's dive into it, man. So at the end of the day, I mean, before we get to talking about anything, and before I do that, those of y'all that are following, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook as well, like some of these questions, like when I just posted here, as far as like when I asked us, as far as what do you feel about the current credit system in America, I put that in the Facebook live chat as well. So please do share your answers or any questions or things that you have, as we always ask every show. So just be on the lookout for that as we're going through the thing. So yeah, man. So we're gonna dive into it. Like I said, first identify just what is a credit score. So I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, a credit score is that number that we all have and we get, no matter how pretty it is or whatnot, but it's a range, and that basically depicts our credit worthiness. So how valuable we are as a consumer to go out and purchase a large item. First thing we think about when we think about credit or credit score, probably a house and a car, right, fellas?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I mean, that's pretty much what we have as far as a credit score. I don't think we can add any more into that definition of it. I think that's just what it is at the end of the day. But it's interesting, man. We was talking prior to the show, just as we always try to do, get things together, man. There's a lot of credit myths that are out there as well. What are some credit myths that y'all have heard of, man? Myths, those are things that are considered to be true, but not necessarily true. So are there any credit myths that y'all have heard that's out there, man, that has always been thrown around a lot?
Yeah, well, I'll put the one out there we discussed prior to the show is the myth about closing old accounts. I guess it's an old additive where people say, well, I got this credit card account, it's paid down to zero, right? Should I keep it open or should I close it? Right? I'm not using it. Should I close it? And some people would tell you, well, don't close it. Right? So that's kind of a true statement to not close it, but just to help people understand why not to close it. Right? There's a portion of what makes up your credit, and we'll go into this, the credit scoring factor in just a second, but there's a portion of your credit is made up is the length of your credit history, right? So when you talk about the length of your credit history, the older account that you have on your credit within your credit profile helps that part of your credit score out. So if you got an account that you've had for 20 years and you've had a great payment history on that credit account for 20 years, that's an account you don't want to remove out of your credit profile, because that helps that portion of that, you know, the portion of the equation that makes up your credit history or your credit factor. So if you got an old account, as long as you can keep it open, and I know I've had banks threatening to, you know, you've not used this credit account in a year. If you don't use it within the next 6 months, we're going to close this account. You know what I do? Just go run to the store and swipe it for a pack of bubble gum, $2, $3. Yeah, get active, pay that little $3 off, and, you know, wait for a letter in the next year or two. You know what I mean? So there's still ways you can keep your accounts open with the threat of them closing them without going to try to say, I'm going to make a large purchase of $200-$300, right? Just to run this credit card up, just because they're trying to get me to use it. Let me go in the store and see what I can find and buy. No, you don't want to do that. You don't have to do that to keep an account open. They just want you to have some activity on the account. So
Keep it right.
it's basically them knowing that, okay, we just want to make sure that this person still exists and that they're still, you know, willing to use this card, right? So that's my little piece on that.
Yeah, because they're gonna let you have it as long as you're alive, because they want that money. Eventually, you're gonna use it.
Right.
Oh yeah, that'll be my same. I'll say the same thing. That would be one of the myths that I know of is closing an account. Personal experience on that, right? Went to go buy a car as a young man, and they told me my credit card was really good, like above 750, right? And the guy was like, "You have the credit history of a baby." I'm like, "What you mean?" He's like, "My credit history was 2 years old, because that's the longest standing I had at the time." You know, mind you, I'm well in my 20s. I don't have credit cards, loans, and all this other stuff, but I closed out some accounts. So he said, even though I had that high credit score, I needed a co-signer because my credit history was too short. They couldn't do nothing with it. So, perfect example of how that credit history is kind of important.
You know, it's interesting, man, about the I guess the length of credit history. That's like I know for me that was something that didn't factor into when you're talking about credit, right? But you know, like I was telling David earlier, you know, when you break that thing down, like it's like, wow, okay, now that you think about it, excuse me, that makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? And I know another one as far as like with the credit cards, like I think a lot of people think that just making a payment on it is helping my credit score. So that when you get that statement and they say that little, you know, or you thinking to yourself, all right, I need to just get a little cushion. Let me apply for this credit card, $700 credit limit or $1,500, whatever it may need to be. I'm only gonna use it just to get this little table set for the house. All right, so cool. You go do that thing. You know, they sit down there talking to you. You know, they let you know what you're approved for. You know, your minimum payments, $35 a month. 35? I can handle that. That ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So shoot, you get the card, do what you need to do, and you thinking like, and before you know it, you've probably accrued a few more debts and everything, and now it gets to a point where that $35 a month, you can't even make that. But in your mindset, you thinking that paying this little $35 a month is gonna be beneficial for you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm good, I'm Gucci. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, that's not really helping you from a longevity standpoint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You ain't really knocking nothing off. And then more than likely, in most cases too, you probably haven't even factored into what's the interest rate on that credit card as well.
Yeah.
And so you could got the same card with an $800 limit on it, had to move about 5 years. I got about 8 more months on that thing, my boy, and I think we'll be good. Like, dang, bro, that same card you had back when we just graduated college, ain't it? You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I think, you know, when it to that point, though, it comes to credit card utilization, the amount of it that you're using versus to your balance and everything.
All right, now you already getting into this thing, ain't you?
Yeah, no, my bad. I'm stopping right there. I see a comment, though. I'll pause. My bad.
Pull out.
So we got, okay, that's Portia Murray. She said, getting a loan help boost your credit score so that you can get pre-qualified for a mortgage within 2 to 3 months. So this is a myth, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, that's a big myth. That's a no-no. You don't want to run your credit report. You don't want to do anything that close to getting a house or to get a house. Like,
yeah,
if you went in that close, yeah, it's over with, bro. You should have started like a year in advance on this. You got to start.
It calls for question once you start. I think and more of the, I think there's something that Ray could have spoke more on is they call it actively seeking credit, right?
No.
So when potential investors see you actively seeking credit, that kind of puts you in a different risk category as well, because it looks like while you're trying to obtain this mortgage, you're also looking to generate more debt somewhere else. So that caused a little bit of cause for pause for potential lenders when it comes to the mortgages. Nico, did you have anything with regards to that myth?
Nope, y'all handled it. I'm just here right now.
So y'all good.
Y'all good. That boy good.
So Timar, you mind if I just dive right into some more?
Yeah, I'm about to say, man, right it, man. Let's get to it.
All right. So we're gonna dive right in. Like he said, the credit score is kind of makeup of your credit worthiness. Also, so that your credit score is gonna range from as low as 300. So you won't have a 0 credit score. Some people may think that, man, my credit score is so bad it's 0. Well, it won't go no lower than 300. So maybe you can take a little solace in knowing that. And the highest your credit score would be is 850.
Where's the solace in there?
Is that 300 equivalent to a 0, though, Mr. Murray?
Yeah. On that sliding scale, yeah, that's a 0. So also, and if you break those categories down, based off of where you fall in that range, they kind of typically label you as in like a prime lender thing, kind of thing, like a prime, where you'd be like super prime, prime, non-prime, subprime. So they kind of like go from stages from high to low when it comes to like rating you in those categories before giving you those different type of loans, right? So for factors wise, right, your credit score is made up of like 5 factors. You have your payment history, which makes up about 35% of your credit score. You have the total amount you owe, meaning when it comes to debt, is like I think we refer to it as, what is it, the ratio, like the percentage that you owe on your debt, and that makes up 30% of your credit score. The length of your credit history, which we mentioned earlier, that makes up 15% of your credit score, and the type of credit also makes up 10% of your credit score. So there have been a little myths on what type of credit should I have, right? Should I have just all credit cards, or should I not have any credit cards? So, but you want to have a mixed credit profile of like personal loans, a mortgage, and maybe a credit card, or just different types of loans. So, and finally, you got new credit. These are your inquiries, right? So are you actively seeking credit and trying to get credit? That makes up another 10% of your credit profile.
So when you said, that's crazy, man. Like out of those 5,
65% of it, just look at 65% of it is just, can you make payments on time? And how much debt are you trying to hold at a particular time, right?
Right.
So the majority of all of your credit makeup is, can I make on-time payments? And how much credit am I trying to use? Like, am I just getting credit on a occasional basis, or am I running high debts of credit? Like, do I have high credit limits on everything?
So let me ask you this, man. When you let's say like with student loans, like I know all of us, some form of fashion, got a student loan. And with this good old pandemic, they got it where now basically everybody, you ain't got to pay nothing, right? But let's say that's probably like the biggest amount of debt that you have with everything else that you have on your credit history. Like, how much of a negative impact does that have on your credit score? Because like it's showing that you're in a income-driven repayment plan or whatever it may be, right? And $0 you know, and it's on a 25,000 student loan balance that you have, but you know, hey, I'm pretty solid on everything else that I have over here. A little shaky on maybe one credit card, but everything is checking out okay. But I got this $25,000 over there looming over my head.
Yeah. So for that, it depends on what type of loan you're seeking.
Okay.
Right? Credit score impact wise, it's not gonna have an impact on your overall credit score. Credit utilization usually fall up in that category with your credit revolving accounts, right?
Yeah.
That's so that 30% is more like your revolving account balances as well. When you're just talking about getting like another credit card, auto loan, those student loan accounts are not going to come into effect. With the current FICO score matter, right? There have been talks and about with the new credit scoring system about including that student loan debt into your score ratio and having that being a factor, right? But you know, there's been a lot of pushback from a lot of people because we're not the only people with student loans. You know,
Sure.
people who look like me are not the only people with student loans. So
Right.
it's been a lot of pushback on not having that included in the credit factor, but there have been some that's been pushing for that. Now, when it comes to like a mortgage, Ray would tell you that there's means and ways around it, right? When it comes to it being factored in to your debt to income ratio on what you have to pay for a length of period of time. So there are some pushing for it to be included on the mortgage side as well, because that is a potential debt that's going to come due before your mortgage payment is up, right? So if you got a 30-year mortgage, you potentially know that your student loan payments are not going to be deferred for 30 years, right? So at some point, you're going to have to pay this mortgage and these student loans at the same time.
Right.
So
I know. So, I mean, we've established what a credit score is.
right.
You know, now we talked about factors that go into play as far as like with your credit score, you know, how good it is, bad, and everything in that sort. So like, I think the next thing we need to move into is like, you know, the next question is, all right, then Mr. Murray and everybody else, how can I improve my credit score, right? So I see somebody else made a good comment. Says, keep your credit card usage below 30%. So that goes back, I was talking about earlier with the, you know, when you make, and that's really how you can affect your credit score in more so in a positive way, right? You know, as far as with the balance and how often you're using it. You know, I know it's always been a rule of thumb and not try to, and I guess try to break it down where it makes, I guess, a little bit more sense. Where it's like, try your best to not try to keep your balance as close to that max amount of your credit card.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
30%.
In simple terms, you know what I mean? So
30%.
if you got an $800 limit, don't be, you know, you paying $25 off of it, may throw another 50 over here one time, and you look at your balance, you know, that more 722. Right.
Come on, man.
Come on, Peter. You know, that they ain't doing too much, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't walk around with your chest poked out to me, you know, I'm knocking that thing down, baby. No, bro.
Man, I literally pay everything in my credit cards. I just pay the credit cards off when I get cash because my debit card ain't really doing that much for me. Like everything's paid with my credit cards, and I just pay those off.
Hey, yeah, that's a whole different conversation, man. Like you talk about using credit cards, man. That's honestly the best thing to do. I don't know why. I wish more people would use it if they could use it right, but you know.
Why you say that, man?
I guess that goes back to one of the myths, Demir.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Go ahead and speak a little bit about that's one. To me, that's one of the myths in our community, right? When people say, "Well, I want you to go ahead and say it," and I'm gonna speak a little bit on the back end, right? I'm gonna play devil's advocate as well.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. All right, so I'm talking about, you know, the responsible adult here. I'm just talking about, you know, if you're not financing or budgeting your money, or you don't know what you just spending, you just swiping your card on a monthly basis, yeah, it's probably not for you, right? But all right, so credit card companies, they offer rewards, right? And a lot of them do it for gas, they do it for groceries, they do it for different types of things, right? So what I do is I got a credit card I would get a credit card, right? That uses the things that I use the most. So groceries, eating out, my two things, gas. I drive 60 miles to work every day. So, you know, I can swipe that card for those three things and those three things only. At the end of the month, look at my total, pay it off, right? I got that money anyway, right? I plan on using that money, use it for nothing else. And that way you build them points. So when you get those points, you can turn those points into money, depending on the card now. You can turn it into money, or you can use it for traveling. So you want to go on vacations, right? Now you can use this money and say, all right, I want to go spend a week in Vegas. All right, you got some extra dough that you didn't have before. You know, you had to pay for it. It's just straight cash to you. Boom. But
Yeah, that's the wrong place to go to talking about credit. We're not gonna go to Vegas. Let's go somewhere else.
Hey, well, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a gambler, you know what I'm saying? So if I went to Vegas, it would be for the show, really, you know, because, you know, I would like to see Usher before I die, you know what I'm saying? Perform.
Right, get back on topic, man.
You know what I'm saying?
So you find out you get on the stage and we try to have a dance contest with that.
Hey, you know what? I still got it, man.
I still got it, man.
Yeah, let me Oh man.
But you know, they always have something in Vegas, you know, and I just know that he's there right now, you know what I'm saying? There's always people coming through that performance. So yeah, man, there's a lot that you could do. You know, I see a lot of other people do it and it works well for them, you know. So
yeah. I'll echo what Demeric said, and also with Crystal from our Facebook page. Don't buy anything on the card you can't pay off in cash.
Exactly. That's why I said that's three things, right? My gas, my groceries.
Have that flow across the page, like real slow. Yeah,
I know. So we can talk all day about, you know, different things to how to improve your credit, right? So there are a lot of different ways to improve your credit, but to me, the overarching fact, if you want to improve your credit, you got to be disciplined.
Got to be.
Like, even if you came up with a plan, you got to say, this is my plan, right? This is what I'm going to do, but you got to be able to stick to it. So I think if anyone out there who is trying to work on their credit or improve their credit, until you can, you know, talk to yourself or convince yourself to be disciplined in whatever approach or whatever plan you're going to take, you're failing yourself to start. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you need to have that internal conversation with yourself, with your spouse, with your significant other, because I think also what we don't realize is when we carry debt, it affects the people around us, the people in the house with us as well. I'm gonna show an example later of somebody with good credit and bad credit, and it's gonna bring that more into fruition, right? Just to see how the impact of having bad credit affects your livelihood in the home that you live in. So, but just having that disciplined approach to whatever plan you put in place to try to say, okay, I'm gonna make sure I pay my bills on time all the time, right? I'm not gonna carry a credit card balance above 10% or 30% of the usage rate. So just having that, I'm not gonna try to get a credit card every month, right? I'm not gonna apply for a credit card every month, or apply for a loan where someone pulls my credit and I get that inquiry on my credit every month. So just having those principles in place, or just being disciplined to stick to your plan, man, I think that'll speak volumes for just boosting your credit in the future. We're not going to talk about, you know, some of the slick stuff that people do to get 85 points or 100 points over a 30-day period, because that's not sustainable, right? So just being a responsible adult and just being responsible for your own credit. Let me say that. Be responsible for your own credit.
Throwing that word out there, man. Say one more time.
And the thing is, too, man, the thing is, right, especially people trying to buy this house, bro, like, it's not a sprint. This thing is a marathon.
Right.
Trying to build your credit, it is a marathon, straight up marathon. It's going to take a while. So if anybody tells you, hey, I can change your credit in a matter of 2-3 months, they lie. I
ain't knocking nobody hustle.
Hey,
at all.
If they do, they did something wrong. They did something illegal.
Yeah,
I ain't knocking nobody hustle, but the stuff you paying these credit repair places to do, you can do it yourself.
Hey,
you just gotta find information.
Hey, that's my
bad. I ain't mean not the hustle. I'm sorry. My bad. Let me get in.
A lot of people are just, you know, they don't want to research, man. Like I said, bro, straight up, Credit for Dummies. If you don't know nothing else, get a book.
Now you know damn well.
I mean, but I mean,
Watch
again,
the video.
that goes back to the
YouTube, okay,
larger,
there you
One Life with the Fellas podcast.
right? But I think that goes back to the larger problem, man. Like what we saying within the Black community, as far as just taking that little extra step to educate ourselves on what we all want to say, man. I just want to get ahead. You know, I just want to make some things happen. So, and I think we've kind of really touched on Murray as far as like, you know, the ways to improve the credit score. You know, we talked about, you know, the closing of the old accounts, you know, not overspending, which, you know, you don't have coming in or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You know, of course, making your payments on time, that's huge. I think that just with any type of bill collector that you have, even if it comes to the extent, you know, you got some situations that hit, man, and it's like, you know, you won't be able to make that payment on time, make some arrangements with your creditors, man.
Yeah.
Just like you said, just do the responsible thing, I guess, you know, and not avoiding, you know, the creditors and you know, those that you have to pay bills to or whatnot. Because when you do, huh?
I really got to answer the phone when they call.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you know, if you just want to get on there and say, well, I got the Wi-Fi, you know, if you just want to do something like that, then that's fine. That's on you.
Okay,
You know,
All right, let me run through my spiel real quick, right?
come on with it.
Especially based off the post that we had the other day, right? Like knowing what was it? I can't remember the question exactly, but I know a lot of
It's
people
harder
said,
to
right?
say.
Yeah. I need help. So that's one of the things. Like you got to ask for that help, man. Especially if you know somebody that know it. So, and knowing that you need help, especially when it comes to credit, right? Know when to ask for help. So I just jotted down some little notes right quick. So I'm gonna just read them off to you. So knowing if you need help, if you're stressed about the situation, like it's keeping you up at night, you're arguing with your spouse. Like Nico said, he avoided them creditors. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't do it.
If you're doing all that, then you probably need to get some help.
He didn't do it.
If you have a lot of options or solutions to fix, if you got a lot of options or solutions to fix your problems, you probably need to get some help. More than 3 creditors calling your phone, you probably need some help. If you're behind a big one now, if you're behind a month or more on your mortgage, get some help. Because the mortgage ain't gonna play. Them folk gonna come for that house, they ain't asking no questions. The police coming to your house, putting you out.
that's why that thing is on auto pay.
Exactly. So if you don't pay nothing else, do that, please.
We're gonna have someone to lay down now. Hey, but since we talking about needing help, I got a little carried away at the club last week. Y'all think y'all can help? My cash out back up. I got a little carried away. Oh, but nobody hear me now. All right, cool. Nobody hear me. All right. Appreciate it.
And then
Oh my bad.
Also, man, go ahead.
That's a good one right here.
That's an excellent one.
Appreciate the conversation because the myth have always been under the impression that people with good credit are either in a secret society, sharing info, or have parents who pass down knowledge, or have a financial analyst. It's good to know this info is free at our disposal.
I would love to know who made that comment.
Really,
I just want to
I'm
say your
going
name.
too. I got some notes on that too. I
I
wish
just
I
want
could
to say
put all this on
whoever
the
name that
screen.
was. Give them a shout out.
I wish I could put all this on the screen. So, all right, tips. If you're handling it on your own, student loans, give them folks a call, man. Tell them what's going on. I don't credit card, student loans, any of that. Hit them up and say, I'm having trouble. Explain your situation. They want their money, so they gonna work with you, regardless of what you want to pay, what you want to give. They gonna work with you. Simple as that.
It's true.
What you don't want is especially a credit card. You don't want them to write it off, because guess what? You're gonna end up paying that back to Uncle Sam. So they're gonna send you a letter in the mail. Hey, we paid it. We let so much of your debt go. Now you got to pay it back in taxes. You don't want that. Now IRS coming at you.
I will say this real quick because I see Crystal put in a comment about YouTube University. Crystal, if you don't mind, even in the comment threads, just I guess give a little bit more about YouTube University for those just reading that. They may think that's something else. You know what I'm saying? So, and I hate to keep reiterating things in that way, but but it's almost like Demeric said, like just credit score for dummies. I just really want us to approach this thing as if like we don't know anything about the stuff that we're talking about. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to finances and stuff that affects the Black community, a lot of it is just built off of myths. Myths are starting to create it because of lack of knowledge. It's just what it is, man. So, so you know, that's
on YouTube too, T-Mar, that I want to take.
Huh? Okay, go ahead. Where did you see it?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
Okay. And then after we address this question, we can let's go to that smaller presentation that you got too, Bonnie.
Oh yeah, great presentation.
But she says, Tina says, how can I get back on a fixed income? What you mean by get back? Get back what?
So
get back right. Get the credit score back right.
Well, I think I think this may be in reference to how do I get back right? If I've got a bunch of bills, I've created a bunch of bills, but now I'm on a fixed income.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So to answer this question, the best thing to do is, I think the mayor provided some great HUD resources to like some free financial and counseling stuff.
I was gonna get to that next. Sure was.
For HUD, so you can seek like that free financial help as well. If I had to give you some financial advice just from myself, is somebody else posted as well to know when to consolidate, right? So if you find yourself on like a fixed income, I would say know when to consolidate that debt so that it fits your current living situation. So I would say, seek that consolidation. Now let me be clear now. When I say consolidate, I don't mean go find this third party company that's gonna say, well, we're gonna pay all your bills off, because some of those people are kind of shady, right? So they will go in and negotiate a smaller fee that they're gonna pay your creditor and pay them. Say you owe $1,000, they may pay them $200, but still charge you $1,000. Don't do that. I mean, like consolidate, get like a personal loan to pay everything off, and then kind of pay just have that one bill, right?
One bill.
She says she have a lot of medical bills and student loans. Well, you wanted to take that advice that the mayor gave earlier. Give them a call, talk to them, let them know your situation, work something out, something that's feasible for you to pay based off your fixed income. Whether that be $20 a month, $25 a month, whatever situation that you guys can work out that will suit your living style. That it's still going to allow you to live comfortable, but you're not worried about and stressed out about making those payments, and it is going to keep them off your back at the same time.
And there's also ways too, man. And this may not fit Tina's question in particular, but it can. But like if you work in have certain professions, if you work in those certain professions for a certain amount of time, like you can get to where your student loans be
10 years.
Yeah, so look into things like that too, man. A lot of that stuff, and these are things, like I said, I hate, man, that they just don't put these things in front of us, let us know. You know what I'm saying? Like to the comment about that secret society, like it was, I remember like one of my first few years of teaching, man, and a Caucasian teacher came up to me. And she was like, yeah. She's like, yeah. Did you know you can get your loans forgiven or take them off? He's like, I'm doing the letter now. I'm looking at like, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you mean? She broke it all the way down for me. Like, man, that's crazy. Like, and my first question to her was like, who told you this stuff? Like, where'd you get the information from? Because they didn't tell me this in the certification office when I was getting ready to graduate for AUM, and let me know that this is an option that I have with my student loans and everything. So I'm like, but I guess like you said, man, you just got to put yourself in the right avenues and connect yourself with the right people and just ask anyway. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can just ask the wrong question, may give you the right answer for what you're looking for.
Right.
So, and I think that's a lot of times
like listening, and a lot of times it's just us listening and attempting to find the information that we don't know.
Right.
Like a lot of stuff is literally right in front of us, but we don't know that we don't know it, and that is right in front of us.
But it's going to that post that we posted, I think it was Sunday or whatnot, which is harder to do, and a lot of people said B, saying I need help. And that's why I made the comment too of like, I know a couple people say, nobody has you like you. And you're absolutely right. But again, if you're a person who's not going to ask questions when you need help, Are you really benefiting yourself the best way you need to? So
I kind of agree with that. Like nobody has it with yourself, but a lot of people have your best interests at heart, but you don't trust yourself enough to listen to them.
Yeah, I think we didn't dive right a lot. We didn't go into that question fully, but I want to address some of it as well. When people talk about they're afraid to say that they need help, I think it's because we don't want to put ourselves in that vulnerable situation, right? So when you kind of say that, hey, I need help, you're kind of making yourself vulnerable to the person that you're seeking help from, right? So I think that's the problem with that, right? Why everybody say it's hard for me to say I need help, because we don't want to seem like we're vulnerable, or just don't seem like we don't know something or we need help with something. So just being vulnerable to that point, but man, that's
pride down at some point in time.
That's something we got to get over, because that's holding us back for something greater. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I need to humble myself to get to somewhere that I want to be, I will do it. You know what I mean? Just to say, hey, I'm vulnerable too. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Don't let anyone that you're seeking help from put you in a position where you think that they've not made a mistake in their past, but because some of the people who you're talking to probably gonna be, they made the same mistakes you've made, but they're in a better position to help you because they made those same mistakes. So don't think that the person that you're seeking help from is perfect, because nobody is perfect. So that's why I say don't be afraid to ask for help, because man, that's how you're gonna get to where you want to be if you don't know what you need to know.
That's right. So I think Tina had one more question. She was saying, is it best to pay off the loans, not let it be written off because she's on fixed income? So she was told that student loans can be forgiven under a fixed income. So is it best to pay to keep good credit?
It depends on what type of fixed income it is. It's a lot of stuff that goes into that with student loans. What I'll do is I'll make a post on our within our group, just breaking down like the different programs that qualify for student loan forgiveness. Some of them are fixed income, some are like if you become disabled to a point in your own fixed income that they'll forgive either the full amount of your loan or a portion of your loan.
Hey, I wish I had known that
it's all about
my loans off.
doing that research. I've did some of that research already, so I'll share that knowledge that I have on that particular subject.
Appreciate that, man. I see Demeric too. He also put in Google HUD certified counselors. So that's another outlet or resource to have for you. And again, don't think all this stuff that we have for tonight, if we don't post it all tonight, well, like I said, we definitely gonna post this stuff throughout the week and probably leading into our next show as well. So hey, Murray, let's get to that presentation, man, to kind of show like how the difference when we just of everything we've talked about, but when it comes to having a loan or whatever it is, and for someone who has good credit versus having a bad credit.
Okay, let's look at it. So I'll say let's look at the numbers, right? So sometimes people just understand it when you look at it. Let's take it by the numbers per se. So we'll do person A that has good credit, right? And we'll just assume that this is a auto loan of $20,000, right? Say you're purchasing a vehicle for $20,000. New loan purchase. We're gonna get this car. I got good 750 credit score, right? My interest rate on my loan is gonna be 2.99 or 3%. Okay, so based off of that example, and somebody with good credit, their monthly payments will be $303.78 with an interest rate of 2.99%. So over the life of the loan, what they're gonna pay in interest is $1,800, roughly about $1,900, right? So the total cost for that car for that person with good credit is gonna be $21,872, right? So on the flip side of that, let's look and see what it would be for someone who had bad credit.
Hey, Murray, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah,
explain the amortization. What is the amortization schedule?
Okay, so if y'all familiar with like a loan amortization schedule, and this is not no secret information or secret society, I can post a link to this workbook as well if you just want to put in loan amounts and interest. So amortization schedule is a breakdown of what you would pay on a monthly basis, principal and interest wise, right? So if you made your first payment, like the first payment they would pay at $303.78, but $253.95 of that would be paid towards the principal, and that interest payment would be $49.83. So that's kind of like the amortization schedule. It'll give you a full breakdown of all your payments, what you paying in principal and what you paying in interest, and your ending balance, basically, when like on a loan. So it's always good anytime you take out a loan to do yourself an amortization schedule, because it'll allow you to say, well, maybe I need to pay a little extra so I can save a little money on the interest side. So basically, like we said earlier, this is somebody who with good credit, and let's look at somebody who has, I would say, bad credit. And we just kind of I guesstimated somebody with bad credit would probably pay 20.58% interest. Nico said he's seen somebody who paid as much as 28% on a car loan when he was in the military, right?
Oh yeah.
But just based off somebody who has kind of bad or poor credit, right? For this example, that person, same loan, right? $20,000, higher interest rate, same payment term, 72 months. They're paying $485.80 a month. You know what I mean? Which is about $182 more than what the other person is paying with good credit on that same car loan, right? And if you look at over time, you remember we said on the other one, they're only paying in interest payments, they're only paying $1,800, about $1,900 in interest. This person is paying $14,000, almost $15,000 in interest alone, which is making that $20,000 car. At the end of the day, you're gonna pay almost $35,000 for a $20,000 car, right? So let's look at that, how it impact your day to day, right? Just having on a monthly basis, just having an additional $183 in your monthly budget, like what could you budget and do with that additional almost $200 a month, right? So that's some of the stuff that we want to look at when we talk about how important is my credit. As you can see, it impacts your household, it impacts your ability to pay other bills, right? It impacts your ability to do for your kids, your ability to do things for yourself, right?
Vacations.
So, not just vacation, but just to do stuff for yourself on a daily basis. If I want to say, let me treat myself to a meal, right? Or let me treat myself to this special thing, you're essentially taking money out of your household to pay additional things with, right? To just paying additional, just having bad credit affecting you in that capacity, which goes back to Tamarcus' point, right? At the beginning of the show when he said, why is it hindering the Black community so much, right? This is diminishing the wealth that we can potentially have, because it's taking wealth out of our homes and putting it in the pockets of others. So, and I'll let all the others elaborate on what we just talked about a little more as well.
I don't think there's nothing else to elaborate, man. That's black as white as it can possibly get. I would say, let me ask you this though, to that presentation. What would you? I mean, I know we just kind of just guesstimated with, but like, what would you say, like the an average, or what would you say the credit score would be for that example that you gave for the bad credit score? Because in my opinion, I think that would be something that probably would fit the larger population of us as Black folks.
Yeah, well I'll say this as well. If you're seeking like loans or anything like that, don't use a bank. Like, don't use your Wells Fargo, your big banks, right? My advice to anybody seeking credit or like a loan, go to your credit union, right? Because they're not trying to make all that money off interest from you, right? Now they're gonna protect themselves, so they're gonna charge you a decent interest rate, but they're not gonna try to knock you over the head and just make a killing off you interest wise. So, first I would say don't use a big bank. I know like back in the day, people used to pride themselves on just being, oh, I got an account with Wells Fargo, I got an account with Chase. Well, you mean nothing to those people. You know what I mean?
Right.
But those local credit unions, man, they really do have like your best interest, right? Because they're member owned. So just being a member of that credit union, you own a piece of that. You own a piece of that bank. So I would say go to your credit union, talk to the loan officer at that credit union, tell them your situation. Like say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. What do you think I need to do to better put myself in a position to get a better loan? Even if you get a loan, I would say if you get your credit score in a better situation, even look into the option of refinancing your vehicle, right? Just to get that payment down. Essentially, if you can't pay any additional payments, look at refinancing some of the debt that you do have when you get yourself in a better situation credit-wise, because that essentially is going to put more money back into your pocket. Also, and in some later episodes, we're going to talk about, okay, now you're saving money. What should I do with that money, right? So we'll talk about that in some other financial literacy episodes as well.
I don't know, man. I think that should do it.
To answer your question though, a bad credit score would be like less than, in my opinion, less than like 675 ish.
Yeah, I think anything less than 650 probably.
Yeah.
Like the average credit score for Black Americans is 677. Yeah. So like where we sit, we like literally sit on the line of bad credit.
But Timo, also to that question, it depends on where you're going to try to get loans at, man. That's why I say don't try to use the big banks, because their requirements, they're up there. I mean, they set the bar high. That's why you can't get a lot of stuff from them. Go to your credit unions, man. They're real sympathetic when it comes to their members, man, and trying to do what's in their best interest.
Well, in addition to what y'all just said, the reason why I asked that question, and we can kind of like get ready to wrap it up after this. Of course, if y'all got anything to add on, when you're talking about the average credit score, and then how close we are, literally, this is probably a good example of that. You got to put that into your mindset when you are going out here to talk to these folks about getting a house, a car, or just a big loan or whatever it is. It's unfortunate, but we're human. I think a lot of people, and it goes back to a question that we asked earlier as far as like what's part of the problem that we have in our communities, because those that are at the table, they already have this knowledge already at the cusp. So with them already having that knowledge, they may be a little bit more hesitant to work with you or bend a couple of corners to try to help you out with this situation, even though your credit score is a 5 points higher than the average score. And there's nothing that's really bad on you or bad reflection of you, but just because they have that mindset going into it, it hurts a lot of us from being able to get ourselves ahead of the curve. So it's like to Demeric's point earlier, we're always steadily climbing from behind. And so that's the one reason, man, why we're trying to, with this podcast, with the posts that we do throughout the weeks and everything, to try to give y'all as much knowledge from mistakes we've made, and also from just the knowledge that we have gained as well too. Yeah, or making correct. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, like he just said, none of us are perfect, man. So, we just trying to make sure we get to the point where we can just, because all of us have kids. And we want our kids to start off on a completely better foot than we did. And we talking about coming out of high school. We're not talking about by the time they become an adult, went through the trial and errors like we have. We want them to come out of high school already better. So I would say to conclude this thing, we're coming to conclusion. Let's kill the myth that we got to wait till they become an adult for them to understand this conversation that we having. Yeah, let's put it to them now while they're preteens and teenagers. As they're taking some of these classes in high school. Right. So all these things can really come into fruition, and they can have some action of substance behind it to create a whole nother separate opportunity for generational wealth. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, man, that's what we're trying to come and achieve here.
A little point to what Murray was talking about with the presentation, right? So 88% of Americans live check to check, right? They don't have a savings at all. So if you're already living check to check and you paying, what was the number? Extra 13,000 on for 30, extra 15,000 for a car. Like, if you actually build a credit, you can put some of that money back so that you would be in a better predicament to not have to worry to save, so you won't have to go into wondering where that next check is coming from. You could save a little bit, but that's another episode. I just thought I'm a numbers guy, and that number popped in my head when he said it.
All right, man. So Murray, Evans, y'all got anything else to add, man, before we get out of here?
Nah, man, in there, bro.
Yeah, I add one last thing that we didn't really touch on a lot. We touched on it previously. Man, know your rights, man. Look at the thing for the free credit. What is it called? The merit.
Fair Credit Act.
The Fair Credit Act. Know your rights, man. Look at the Fair Credit Act. We have rights, even though they get overlooked sometimes, like all the other stuff. But know your rights. Know how to defend yourself when it comes to some of the stuff that people are trying to do to hold your credit score down. Improve upon your credit, man, is important. It could be the difference in you being I won't say a millionaire, but just say it could be the difference in you living comfortable versus, like Nico said, and you living check to check. You know what I mean? Be responsible, have a plan, be disciplined, and man, we'll help you see this thing to the end. I promise.
Ask for help. No matter how old or young you are, ask for help. We out here, man. It's too many of us that won't let us grow because we don't want to open our mouth. So ask for help, man. So
if you have the knowledge, share it, please, with somebody. Yeah. Somebody's listening to you, even if they don't seem like they listen. You'll reach somebody.
All right, Nico, take us out, bro.
All right. First of all, before we get to that part, free Nico, man. I'm tired of being in Facebook jail. Tell Mark, let me out, man. But nah,
he'll be back in there 2 months.
Good. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Everybody I could see, everybody I couldn't. We thank you, and I love you. I want you to have a great day on and with purpose. We'll see y'all on the next show.